A presidential pardon has been issued. The paperwork is signed, and a 68-year-old grandmother is still sitting in a Colorado prison cell. Tom McCullough has been tracking this story from Washington, D.C., and what he's uncovered is stunning. President Trump pardoned Tina Peters. Her lawyers went to pick her up, and Colorado said no. They're actually refusing to release her. A state government openly defying a federal pardon. And if they can do this to her, they can do it to anyone. And that should terrify every single American who's watching right now. Tina Peters was the Mesa County clerk who did something the establishment couldn't forgive. She preserved evidence. Election data that Colorado officials wanted wiped. And for that, she was prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced to 9 years in a state prison. 9 years. For a county clerk. Meanwhile, violent criminals walk free on cashless bail. Drug dealers get probation. But question an election? You get nearly a decade behind bars. And now President Trump has issued her a federal pardon. Her attorney went to retrieve her, and the state of Colorado refused. They're hiding behind jurisdiction claims, saying a federal pardon doesn't apply to state charges. Supporters are demanding federal marshals intervene. The Bureau of Prisons reportedly requesting her transfer, citing unjust conditions. And still she sits in a cell. Governor Jared Polis, the same man President Trump just called weak and pathetic, would rather keep a grandmother locked up than acknowledge federal authority. And some breaking news for your family's security. As states like Colorado prove they'll defy federal authority to punish political enemies, you need to be prepared for anything. And that's why you need this Christmas to be going to preparewithgary.com. My Patriot Supply has an incredible buy one, gift two special. It's happening right now. Buy one 4-week emergency food kit for yourself and get 2 1-week kits absolutely free. They make perfect gifts for anyone on your list who values self-reliance. When government can't be trusted to follow its own laws, having emergency food stored away just makes sense. In this deal, you'll be protecting yourself and giving meaningful gifts to loved ones. This offer is only available for the holiday season, for the Christmas season, so don't wait. Go to preparewithgary.com right now. And with no further ado, let's go to Tom McCullough, who is our White House correspondent. He's outside the White House right now, and I was speaking with him on the phone. It was bitter, cold, and his hotel even caught on fire, if you believe that, on top of it. But he's fine. Let's go to the report.
Hey guys, Tom McCullough, White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And President Donald Trump is drawing national attention to what he calls a dangerous failure of leadership in Colorado, where violent foreign gangs are operating freely while an elected official is sitting behind bars. And Trump's message is simple. When politicians protect criminals and punish whistleblowers, the public always pays the price. This is about security, justice, and accountability. And at the center of President Trump's criticism is Tren de Aragua, a violent Venezuelan criminal organization now operating inside of the United States. And federal authorities link the gang to drug trafficking, human smuggling, extortion, and contract killings. And what began inside of Venezuela's prison system expanded rapidly as border enforcement collapsed under the Biden and Obama administrations. Colorado became one of the gang's primary strongholds. And law enforcement has confirmed that Tren de Aragua activity inside of cities like Aurora, Colorado, where gang members were tied to apartment complex takeovers, intimidation of residents, and violent crime. Federal indictments in 2025 charged dozens of individuals connected to the gang for firearms offenses, trafficking operations, and murder for hire plots.
The poorly run state of Colorado with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election. 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more.
Despite mounting evidence, Colorado leadership failed to act decisively, and sanctuary city-style policies limited cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. ICE detainers were ignored, dangerous individuals were released back into communities. And at the same time, state authorities aggressively prosecuted Tina Peters, the former Mesa County clerk who questioned election systems after the 2020 vote. And Peters took steps to preserve election data before scheduled software updates, believing transparency was essential. Prosecutors charged her under state law, where she was ultimately convicted and sentenced to 9 years in prison. And supporters argue Peters was not prosecuted for criminal intent, but punished for challenging institutional power. And President Trump has repeatedly said that her case represents the weaponization of the justice system against political dissent. And this contrast defines, Trump's argument pretty well. Criminal gangs are tolerated, yet election integrity advocates are crushed? I mean, tell me how that's even close to being fair. And since the returning to office, Trump has prioritized border enforcement, deportations, and dismantling the transnational criminal terrorist networks. His warning to governors is clear: failure to protect citizens will not be ignored. So this moment is larger than one state. It's about whether America defends its borders, enforces its laws, and protects those who question powerful institutions, or whether weakness in politics are going to come first. I wonder how that's going to go in most blue states, guys. Anyways, President Trump has chosen confrontation over complacency, and the consequences of that choice already unfolding. Hey guys, Tom McCullough, White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And
Thank you for that report, Tom. You see, here's what makes this even more explosive. Trump didn't just pardon Peters, he went after Polis directly. He called the governor weak, pathetic. He said Polis is run by Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang that took over apartment complexes, as you just heard Tom talk about, we've been reporting on. Trump pointed out that Polis was too afraid to stop foreign criminals, but had no problem jailing an American grandmother for 9 years. Bannon's war room now calling for Kash Patel and federal agents to physically go get her. Supporters say she's a political prisoner being held by Democrats for preserving evidence of the 2020 election. And her attorney, who graduated military academy with Trump back in '64, says the pardon must be honored. So the standoff is clearly far from over. Now, let's go and check in. This is, we're going to get to Tina's remarks. I want to jump in and find the remarks we have. Here's President Trump.
It's incompetent. The poorly run state of Colorado with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more.
Yeah, we all know what happened in 2020. And then we weren't even allowed to talk about it. Trump eviscerating the governor. Weak and pathetic man. Is this the same clip?
Jail. Colorado, the poorly run state of Colorado, with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out.
That, my bad. But that was the president eviscerating the Colorado governor. Tej Gill, Peters has been federally pardoned. Send in the
Get
feds.
her out of jail. Tina Peters has been federally pardoned for preserving evidence in a 2020 election that was stolen. Send the feds in and get her out of jail forcefully if needed. That's what Kash Patel and Dan Bongino need to do. They need to go in there and show up with force and get her out of the Colorado jail system, because she is a political prisoner held by the Democrats for preserving evidence in the 2020 election. What she did was legal. She preserved evidence in a crime, and she's been federally pardoned by the President of the United States. So that FBI and the U.S. Marshal Service need to go and get her out of jail and use force if necessary.
Wow. Tina Peters in prison for exposing Jenna Griswold's crimes of election fraud in Colorado. The wrong person's behind bars. Send in the marshals. Here's more from Real America's Voice.
Those bios subpoena Mike Frontera, Dominion.
So this is Tina Peters, obviously on a phone in prison.
Dominion's lawyer, but they found a way to not let us have our witnesses. What Jenna did, though, that since at least June, those BIOS passwords, 670 of them, from 63 counties out of the 64 counties in Colorado, have been on the public website for the Secretary of State, which means they were out there for anybody to grab.
Anyway.
She should be locked up, and they should throw away the key and let me loose.
Yeah, we need a prisoner swap.
Yeah, for sure.
So you think that this election in Colorado is definitely compromised because of the leaked passwords?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mesa County, they were finding fraudulent ballots. They were finding the same person was signing the ballot envelopes, and they brushed it off like it was nothing. And as a matter of fact, what Jenna Griswold did with the passwords, she knew while I was going through the trial that was out there and did nothing.
So those passwords were leaked out there during your trial before your sentencing?
They were out there since June, but she knew about it and didn't tell the clerks about it. And now she's apologizing to the clerks. She should apologize to the American people, or at least the people in Colorado. But there were other passwords besides just for Colorado, I've heard, for the United States in there for Dominion machines.
So you think some of our other elections in other states could be compromised because of leaked passwords for the Dominion machines?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's going on with the cartel in Arizona and Michigan.
Tina, I love you, but we got to get you out of prison, girl. We got to get you out of prison. We got to get you out of prison. Let's free Tina Peters.
Free Tina Peters, indeed. And here is Jenna Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State. Quote, it's now a felony to access voting equipment without authorization, and we caught someone. Tina Peters.
Colorado. Access in an unauthorized basis voting equipment. And we've caught someone, Tina Peters, who is now serving 9 years of imprisonment because she tried to mess around with voting equipment in the state of Colorado.
What are you going to do if there are troops on the street at at polling places?
It's unfortunate that we have to plan for these scenarios, but as Secretary Benson of Michigan said, we had already planned for these scenarios in 2020. A lot of the worst case scenarios that you can think of, Democratic secretaries of state have been planning contingencies since 2019 in preparation for the 2020 election. Look, Donald Trump and his allies are more sophisticated. Trump tried to steal the election in 2020 through lies. Didn't work. He then incited the insurrection. It didn't work. Him and his MAGA allies have learned from their failures. But we're more sophisticated also. The American people are ready to go. We need the American people to stay in this fight. This isn't Republican versus Democrat. This is folks who believe in rule of law, in democracy, and our election, standing firm against this assault on our nation. I'm staying in this fight. I'll always fight to protect our democracy. That's a large part why I'm running for Attorney General in Colorado.
Yeah. She's the same one that leaked all the passwords.
She is punishing us. She's weaponizing her office against an elected official who is doing exactly what we elected her to do, and that is protect us. So please help me welcome my friend and an amazing patriot who is doing exactly what she should be doing in protecting and defending the vote. Clerk and Recorder Tina Peters.
Thank you.
Clearly, this was before she was incarcerated.
Thank you to you guys. When I started having citizens come to me and tell me that something didn't seem right in our local city council elections, something didn't seem right in our county from years ago to the 2020 election, and they wanted answers. And I said, you know what? If there's a there, we'll find it. And I've made that pledge to the citizens of Mesa County and all over Colorado that the people elected me, not the Secretary of State. She has come into my office several times already in the last 2 years since I've been the elected official, because I am a Republican, I'm a conservative, and she's not. And she weaponizes her position to attack people that disagree with her. And so my son, who was a Navy SEAL for 9 years, a lot of that blood runs through our veins. Tragically, I lost him 4 years ago in a very tragic accident on duty. And but you know what? When you're a cancer survivor and you've gone through losing a 27-year-old son, there's not much people can do to you.
Right.
Right? So when the people came to me and they said, can you help us? Can you help us find something? And I said, if you bring the information to me, I'll look at it. And I think that's what we all should do, right? Don't just turn a blind eye and say, well, I believe this or I believe that, but really look at it. And because of that, I've been persecuted. They've tried to take over my elections office because Mesa County election Mesa County is on the western slope of Colorado, and we are the last bastion of freedom in Colorado. So we would be a big jewel in our governor and our Secretary of State's crown to take over my office and control the way you vote. How do you like that?
At least the outcome of that vote, right, Dr. Frank? Yes.
So we have listened. I've listened to people. They send me things all over, and I've looked at it objectively. And there's some discrepancies there that I cannot deny. And I tell people, I say, I can't unsee some of these things. If I'm going to be honest with the people in Mesa County and in Colorado and with all of you, I cannot unsee some of these things. So I'm willing to put myself out there. I've been attacked, slandered, everything the media can do to me. Just yesterday, I got an order from the Secretary of State that she was going to invade my elections department today. And guess what? When I was on a plane to come see you kind folks and to talk to you out there, guess what they did? They provided a search warrant and raided my office.
And now she's in prison. They want to make sure that she went to prison as an example because she plays a pivotal role in exposing the election fraud in 2020. Listen.
Little bits of evidence of whether this election was stolen or not, it's complete misdirection. You don't need evidence if bullies chased out the witnesses. You're not letting me in? No. Let me say that again. Bullies chased out witnesses in the key cities.
All the Republican challengers out of this room.
So keep that fact, just as one little fact. Bullies chased out witnesses to the vote count.
Move your hand!
The majority inspector threatened to slap me in the face.
If you're telling us to leave, we will leave. Yes. Okay. Sergeant, we will leave. Okay.
Let us in. They will let us in. Now they put cardboard over the windows.
Why do we call it?
They put cardboard over the windows?
Will you let them in? Okay.
Every fucking thing you say after that doesn't matter. All that matters is it was non-transparent by force. And if you allow yourself to imagine the other stuff matters, you are victim of misinformation and little bits of evidence of whether.
So this is not just about Tina Peters anymore. This is about whether a presidential pardon means anything at all. This is about whether states can simply ignore federal authority when it suits their political agenda. Colorado is testing the limits. They're gambling that no one will force the issue. But Trump has already fired the first shot by calling out Polis publicly. The question now is simple. Will the federal government enforce its own pardon? Or will Colorado get away with holding a political prisoner in open defiance of the President of the United States? So Tina Peters, a 68-year-old former county clerk sitting in prison for 9 years because she tried to preserve election records, not destroy them, preserve them. For that crime, Colorado threw the book at her. The judge berated her in court, called her privileged, gave her nearly a decade while actual violent criminals walked the streets. And now a sitting president has issued her a pardon, and Colorado's saying no. Think about what that means. If a state can ignore a federal pardon, then pardons are worthless. If they can keep her locked up despite presidential action, they can do it to anyone. This is the constitutional crisis that nobody in mainstream media wants to cover. Governor Polis has a choice. Release Tina Peters or face the full weight of federal enforcement. So here's my question. We can talk about it. Should federal marshals go into Colorado and free Tina Peters? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments and support our work. Grab your next news gear in the merch shop linked in the description.